I am so excited to be visiting one of the world's most photographed homes and an Instagram icon, the Crooked House, set in the heart of Lavenham, Britain's best preserved medieval village. And it is definitely very, very wonky. Oh. It says, "Take me." I've taken it. I'm opening it. And it says, "Greetings, Julie. Welcome to our home, the Crooked House. Built in 1395 by a medieval merchant, this 600-year-old place is said to have inspired the Old English nursery rhyme, 'There was a crooked man.' Today, it's home to us, two crooked men. So knock the door and step inside." Absolutely genius. And the knocker is spectacular. When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was also a little daunting.
I live with my husband Luke, the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American countess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses.
In rural East Anglia, the medieval village of Lavenham was once one of the wealthiest towns in England. Its timber-framed houses tell the story of prosperity, craftsmanship, and survival. Among its winding streets stands perhaps its most famous resident, the Crooked House. It's the home of Alex and Ollie Khalil Martin, and together they have breathed new life into this architectural gem.
Hello! Hi, Julie.
Oh my
Welcome
goodness.
to the Crooked House.
It is so wonderful to
Come
see you
on
both.
in.
So
Come on in.
thank you, Alex and Ollie. Can I just say, this is literally genius.
I'm glad you like it.
Okay, tell me just a little bit about that, because of course I wasn't expecting it. I was just going to go to the spectacular knocker that you have there, but then this appears, and it's beautifully done. All the artwork there.
Thank you. We drew it ourselves.
Did you?
Yeah, we have good fun with it. It's part of sort of living in an ancient house is playing with some of the history, and we thought, well, let's make a medieval style illuminated manuscript to sort of pass through our medieval letterbox to people as a way of engaging with people as they pass. So many people pass the house every day, and we thought it's a fun way of interacting with everyone.
So when people are coming here and they're taking photographs, because it's one of the most photographed homes in the world, so you're getting lots of tourists here.
A lot of tourists in Lavenham, yes. There's
Are
usually
they
a crowd
coming up to the
outside.
door, or what happens when somebody walks by?
Luckily, we can sit here actually, and we can see out quite clearly, but they can't really see in because of all these little window panes. And so we can see when people are getting really into the house, they're taking photos, people come up onto the steps, they see the crooked cat and the mouse door knocker that you saw. And at that point, we tap the letterbox,
and out comes the scroll.
Alex has a little black glove on so that we can't see the hand. Absolutely, it's all in the
Some people
details.
think it's a clever machine, and they say, "Oh my gosh, there must be some animatronic going on behind there." And it's just us behind the window, really.
Oh my goodness! And how many of these do you pass through your letterbox?
I mean, it's
A day?
Hundreds.
Yeah,
it's
on a
lot.
busy day,
Yes.
it's into the hundreds.
No.
Yeah. But
There's a
you
lot
get
of
crowds of people, really, and especially because there's such a good shot from across the road. Yeah,
And
so it's a way that we can have fun. People
brings people
learn
a
a bit
bit of
about the
joy.
house. They can
It
see
brought
the
me a
nursery
lot of
rhyme.
joy. You can see the
Exactly.
nursery rhyme,
People
which
take them home and frame them, and they send us
course.
photos saying, "Oh, here's your scroll. I framed it on my wall." So,
yeah, but it's a piece of art here. I mean, absolutely. And the car, is that yours as well? Because who's ever parked that, it's genius.
That's Henry.
Right. Is that
That's Henry, yes. Yeah, named after Henry Cavill, one of our heroes.
Right.
He starred in the Tudors as well.
Okay,
so
right, yes,
he has
exactly,
costumes
he
like
did.
us, but also he looks nice. So yeah, we wanted a classic car. A lot of people around here have classic cars.
Okay.
You might have noticed the drive here. It's lovely countryside, great roads for it. There are no
Beautiful.
motorways in Suffolk, and so lots of people have classic cars. And we thought, why not add to the list? And also it gives a nice shot. So
It
that-
does, and I
Enhances the photo.
It does, and I quite like the contrast of the color of the blue
yes,
up
yes.
against the orange. I mean, you planned that
When
really well
people
as well.
pass and they say, "Oh, what engine is in?" We don't know. He's blue, and he matches the orange house, and that's what
Exactly.
matters.
It's really lovely. And then you've mentioned costumes here. Now, I have seen on Instagram, because of course this place is an Instagram icon, but I've seen you both dressed up.
Yes.
And is
Indeed.
this one of the costumes that either of you wear?
Yes, this is mine. Let me come and show you over here. So when we moved into the Crooked House, as one does, you think, well, we need some costumes to match our house. That's normal. And so we found an amazing woman online who hand makes historic costumes. And she made this from historical patterns. It is totally accurate.
Wow.
And when we moved in, we thought, we want some costumes. We sent her these random pictures of portraits of Tudor people and said something like this. And she said, oh, the Tudor period is quite a long period. Fashion's changed. I need a specific year for your costume. And so we said, well, let's choose the year 1578, which
Okay.
is when Elizabeth I came on her royal progress of East Anglia. And so that would have been a real sort of heyday for the wool merchant who lived here, because this is a wool merchant's costume.
Okay.
And it was the wool merchant who built the Crooked House here, which
Right.
at the time was a much bigger house.
So I did a bit of swatting up beforehand, and I know that Lavenham was a big wool town, and this is where people made their money. But can you give me a little bit more detail around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the end of the 14th century, if we rewind back to 1395, this is when the Crooked House was built by a very rich wool merchant, because it was the wool industry that was making Lavenham so wealthy. But actually, the Crooked House that we see today was part of a much bigger house. So the part we're in now, that we live in, the Crooked House, was the service wing. So we had the kitchen, the pantry, and we'll show you later the weaver's workshop, where they were actually making all of the cloth. Our neighbour on this side through here, that house was a great hall in the middle. And then the neighbour even further on, 3 doors away, that was the private lodging of the wool merchant. And so that would have been his sitting room, his bedroom, where he'd have had his family and probably some servants as well. So yeah, so it was part of a much, much grander house, and now we're in one of the surviving wings of it.
Right.
But it was all the wool trade that caused the money to come in.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. And do you know when the house was then divided into these individual homes that we see from the street?
Yeah, it was divided up probably at the end of the 16th century, early 17th century, because
Oh,
that's
that
when,
early, wow.
Yes, yeah, and that's when the wool trade collapsed in Lavenham. And so actually all these big grand houses that were built for the wool merchants and that had the weaving going on in it, suddenly the industry was gone. And so they were divided up into
Right.
smaller houses. So our one big house became 3. And so
Right.
we are in a sort of surviving wing
Yeah.
of it.
Fascinating. Luckily, you got the surviving bit that had the kitchen in it.
Always handy. But we didn't want to live in a medieval kitchen.
true.
And so we decorated it to mirror more what maybe the other side would have felt like, the private lodgings of the wool
Okay.
merchants. So we went for something a bit more opulent.
Okay, no. Fair point, fair point. By the way, I keep seeing people walk by here, and I'm sort of desperate.
Itching
So,
to
like,
scroll?
Yeah, I really want to take a scroll
We will have a go when
hand it-
someone passes.
and hand it out. Oh,
You could try go here.
do I do this? What do I do?
You have to put the glove on first.
God.
Come on.
Okay. Wait, she's still there with her dog. Okay.
Okay, go. It's a quick. Out it goes, and then shake it around.
Oh, they've seen.
Got it. And then you can peek out the window and see the response.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
Here we go. He's opening it up.
Opened. A crowd is gathering.
It's beyond exciting.
It is great fun.
They're opening it up. They're reading it. Yep. She's smiling. He's smiling.
There you go. They're loving it.
Did we get that on camera? He said that's really cool. That's how.
And so many people say, well, there are cameras set up for us. And so, no, we're just looking out the window. But
Look at, they're still there. That's amazing. Oh wait, amazing. Okay, that was so much fun. I would just sit here all day long
Well,
and
we
do
always
that.
joke, we're going to be here for the rest of our lives, and we're thinking when we're 90-year-olds, we're going to sit in our chair just scrolling people all day long. It's going to be great fun.
That is brilliant. Well, listen, I'd love to see the rest of the house, but can we start here? And I've noticed your tapestries. You've got a lot of tapestries here. I'm a bit envious.
They're a little trick of the eye, perhaps. When we moved in, do you know Hatfield House?
Yes.
Beautiful house, and the King James Chamber.
Yes.
Is someone else is trying to get a scroll now.
Oh, you can.
It's coming back
You
through.
can keep it. Yeah, it's for you. Lots of people frame it, and I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you want to frame it, it's for you to keep. Yeah. Thank you.
This is life in the Crooked House, Julie. Welcome.
Was that
A
good
full
marketing?
induction.
So good
Love it,
marketing,
thank
right?
you.
But back to the tapestries.
Okay, back to the
So
tapestries.
Hatfield House, we love that.
King James Chamber.
King James Chamber.
Beautiful, with all the tapestries and all the portraits hanging on top of it. And so when we moved in, we thought that would be a great sort of vibe for this room. Yes, it's not 100% historically accurate. We're not doing kind of historical recreation here.
Right.
But the feeling was of sort of opulence and grandeur, which would have matched what the wool merchants' lodgings would have felt like. And so we thought it needs to be covered in tapestries. We Googled around. As you know, tapestries are very expensive. And so we thought, well, what could be an alternative way we could do it? And we found that if we took very high resolution photographs of tapestries, which we bought the rights to, photoshopped them in with borders to fit the spaces, and then got them printed on huge pieces of canvas. And so these are actually creations by us, but to give the effect of tapestries in the room.
That is genius.
Many people don't believe it.
Exactly. You can touch it, yeah.
What?
See, it's
Yeah,
flat
and then
canvas.
you can touch it,
Yeah.
right?
It's flat canvas, but it looks, you can see the stitches.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they arrived in the dead of night. This lorry arrived. We had no furniture in here. We had really nothing, but we pre-ordered the tapestries because we knew they'd take a bit of time. And so this van arrives, dead of night, knocks on the door, and this huge sort of
10 p.m.
thing arrives. It was so late. And of course, us being us, we couldn't stop ourselves. So we're suddenly ripping all the
unpacking
tapestries
it
out.
out.
We're hanging them out. I'm tacking them up on the walls. I mean, we're obsessed. So yeah, the tapestries actually came very quickly. But
That is brilliant.
it was a fun moment.
Somebody suggested this to me because we have 18th century tapestries at Mapperton, our historic house that I have been fundraising for one of them, recently succeeded in that fundraising effort. And so that's being conserved right now, but there's about 4 other ones and they're even more expensive to have them restored. And somebody suggested that I should take the ones that we have and do exactly this and then hang them on the walls, and that's a much less expensive way than having them restored. But that is super clever. I'm actually going to look into that.
And it really does work because it keeps the room so much warmer. You can see them kind of billowing in the wind because in a house like this there are lots of holes in the wall, and so but they really do sort of keep the draft out and keep us comfortable in here.
Absolutely genius. I love it already. All right,
glad you like
this
it.
is for me to take home,
That's
isn't
easy
it?
to take, yeah.
Because now I see I've got a personal message,
You do.
which is really nice. Here's your glove back.
Very welcome, yes.
I'll take this.
Shall we give you a little show
I would-
around the house? Have a
I
bit of
would
a tour?
love to. I might just take off my coat here because who knew today
I know. I think
was
it's
going
the
to
hottest
be
day of the year.
absolutely boiling.
Excellent. Let me hang it up
okay,
for you.
thank you, thank you.
Fantastic.
Great.
Come on this way.
Okay.
Head straight
Thank
ahead.
you.
There we are, and
Perfect.
through that door. And up we go.
Okay, this was unbelievable. This is not what I was expecting. This is
It is quite a
unbelievable.
surprise, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe what I'm stepping into. First of all, this is absolutely stunning that you, again, have all these original beams.
1395, yes.
But what a space for a dinner party. That is unbelievable. This is tremendous. So, oh my gosh. I mean,
Glad you like it.
this is unbelievable. And the space just, it lends itself perfectly.
And that was our first thinking. When I first saw this house, I came and it was a tea room at the time, back in 2018.
Okay.
And I fell in love with it then, but when I looked up the stairs here and saw this room, I thought this needs to be a dining room. It was just a kind of sitting room at the time, but I thought it's a medieval hall. It needs to have a giant table down the middle. And so the first thing we did when we moved in was to measure out for how big a table can we fit in the room.
We were crawling around with newspapers, putting all the newspapers down, trying to
Trying to measure it.
how big could we possibly get, because there aren't many one-bedroom cottages where you can do dinner for 20.
Yes.
And I think that's the magic of the Crooked House. It's a small house. We've got 5 rooms and 1 bedroom, but it's also quite a big house because you can have a big party, and that is so appealing to us. It's lovely to live in for the 2 of us. It's lovely to host a party. So,
okay, so tell me a little bit about these famous dinner parties that you hold here, because they're viral now.
They are
People
very
are coming
popular,
from
yes.
all over the world to come.
Yes, yeah.
And how did that in one sense event stick with you and come to be?
I think it was from the start when we first met and we wanted to live in the Crooked House. We thought, well, we want to find a way of sharing it with as many people as possible. And dinner parties is something that we both personally enjoyed. Ollie does all the cooking for the events here.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's the majority of the work. I set the table, but Ollie can take all the credit. He does all the cooking.
But as a team, it works because I'm downstairs in the kitchen, Alex is upstairs setting the table, and then on the evening we come together. We can both host, and
we
it
sit
all
at the
runs
table
very
with all our
smoothly.
guests, and we mix everyone round the table. So it's a really lovely sociable event. But they aren't just dinner parties. They are kind of slightly wacky, theatrical, immersive experiences. So with everything we do here, when we invite guests in, it's about telling them the 600-year story of the house. And so throughout the dinner, you learn more about the history of the house and sort of become part of it in a way. So they're really good fun. They're really sociable, and what a space to hold it.
Well, I mean, amazing. And you thread that history, obviously, as you said, throughout the immersive experience. And I think that's what a lot of people want. They want to be able to not to just come to a house and tour it. They want to be able to experience
it. And experience it, definitely. Yeah.
And it feels sort of right in this room as well, in this space, because next door would have been a great hall originally, where they would have had big feasts. So the wool merchant who built the whole original medieval mansion would have been hosting big parties for his clients, for royalty probably. And so actually to sort of bring that sense of feasting and entertaining to this room is really important to us. Originally, this wasn't a dining room. This was the weaver's workshop where all the money was being made for the wool merchant. I mean, people even argue that this room and some of the others in Lavenham, in a way, represent the start of the British economy, because the wool trade was really the first sector of our economy to properly industrialize. The wool that was made, the fabric that was made in this very room would have been exported to Europe, to Russia, North Africa. So it would have been, ignore the table for a minute. You'd have had big looms on the walls, spinning wheels, a real sort of hive of activity, because this was a factory next to a hall, next to a house, really, but all in one.
You can, I mean, and I'm really trying to place that in my mind's eye and imagine
the hustle and bustle of what's going on here and the excitement. Yes, It would have been an amazing time in the 14th century to be here in Lavenham. But it still is an amazing time today, and I think that's the wonderful thing.
Now, of course, when you're standing outside, you can see the wonkiness of the Crooked House, but inside as well, these windows are completely slanted.
Yes.
And do you know when the slant, the crooked, the wonkiness began?
Yes, it would have been actually within probably the first 100 years of the life of the Crooked House.
Really?
So it was built in 1395, but the timber that was used to build these houses hadn't fully dried when it was all constructed. And as the timber dried, it sort of contorts and twists. And so that would have happened in the very early part of the house's life. Our neighbour on this side was built probably 100 years later than the Crooked House. And when that was built, it also might have caused a bit of subsidence. None of these houses have foundations, Julie. We're just sitting on the floor.
On the air.
And so we're a bit prone to that sort of thing when you build a new house next door. So that probably also didn't help. But it is incredibly strong. And lots of people say, is it even safe to live in this house? I assure you, it really is.
Been here for 600 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we did have a structural engineer come and check it out when we first moved in. And he looked around and he said it's 4.5 times stronger than commercial building regulations today because of the amount of oak and the size of the beams used. And using so much wood was really a sign of your wealth. The bigger the beams and the more you could use. And so the wool merchants, who were really the richest people in the country at the time, the chief wool merchant in Lavenham was the second richest man in the country after the king. And so these houses really were sort of billionaires' row in a way, where they were building all these magnificent timber-framed houses and using a lot of very strong wood.
It's just incredible.
And you can still see there are some clues. Yeah, you've seen the peg. This is a clue to the weaving that was happening in this very room. So these are not structural pegs, they're in the middle of the beams.
Right, right.
And so probably there would have been a loom actually built against this wall where these pegs would have helped to fix it to the wall.
I see.
Or you'd have used them to sort of wind the wool round to make sure it wasn't tangling if it was then going onto a spinning wheel. So that's partly how we know that this side of the original house was the service wing and not the private side of the house, because you have these clues from the actual weaving industry in the room,
And it's just so well preserved. I mean, I think that's, for me, to get my head around that, you almost can't, because you just think
it's still here, and it all looks pretty good
Exactly.
condition, really.
Excellent condition. And that's what's just extraordinary about it.
And that is because of the collapse of the wool trade in Lavenham, and it meant that people didn't have the money to knock these buildings down and build more fashionable Georgian or Victorian houses, and so that's why it's all still here.
Right.
And so in a way, the poverty days of Lavenham would have been a dreadful time to live here, but it also means that now we have Britain's best preserved medieval village, and places like the Crooked House have survived.
Yeah, and lots of tourists coming as well, which helps the economy, and
Scrolling all day long.
Yeah, exactly.
But we also wanted to show you this, which is quite interesting. These very dark marks on the beams that you can see. So we didn't really notice these when we moved in. There's a lot to see, right?
Yes.
But actually, then we had an email from a PhD researcher at Cambridge saying, do you have any burn marks in the Crooked House? Because I'm doing my PhD on them. And we said, we're not really sure. We think we have some downstairs, but come and have a look. Anyway, she came up and she was absolutely blown away by these marks, which we'd never really noticed, because these are some of the sort of biggest and deepest burn marks she'd ever seen. What is a burn mark? Well, it's made by holding a sort of taper or almost like a candle against the wood. There are more here.
Yes.
And over time, that burns this sort of smooth indent into the wood.
In a way.
Yes, exactly. And they think this was a form of superstition, that you would be marking the house and marking the beams to protect that particular area. And so we think in this particular room, because this was where all the wool was being made, all the cloth that was the money maker.
The money maker.
Absolutely. You needed to sort of protect it in a way.
To fend off all of those.
To fend off evil spirits or whatever it
Exactly.
might be. So these are kind of a fascinating
So they
little
would burn
insight.
and then sort of take their, you think, finger to
Well,
kind of...
some people do think that there was something to do with the ash and getting the ash on you, but actually it was more that we think they were holding the
flame
paper
burns in,
to burn it into the wood and to leave these strange sort of fingerprints all over the building. It's still a bit mysterious as to exactly what they are and how they were made.
Right.
But we certainly have a lot of them here, and so hopefully it keeps the house with good luck, which is the main thing.
Well, it has, clearly.
It's clearly
still
worked.
standing
still
600 years later.
Yes.
All right, so I've been in 2 rooms, and how many rooms are there in
We've
2
only
rooms?
got 5 in the house.
Okay.
As we say, it would have been a much bigger house originally, but now we're in one wing of it. So come on through if you'd like and see the next room.
Okay, fantastic. Now I'm looking for burn marks everywhere.
Come on through this way. Mind your head as you come in.
Okay. And this is the king's
This
room,
is the
that right?
king's room, yes, also known as our bedroom.
Yes, fantastic. Gosh,
Excellent.
wow. And again, everywhere. You just...
Beams everywhere you look. But this has got a slightly lower ceiling, which is nice and cosy. It keeps you a lot warmer than some of the other rooms.
Beautiful.
This is a bit of a modern extension, actually, to the Crooked House. It's about 500 years old, not 600.
Oh, really?
So this
A new build, basically.
Okay, new build.
So the
Wow.
back of the house originally was there, and then this room and the kitchen that we'll
Okay.
go to next was built on just a little 100 years after that.
But they adapted quite well, because you have, again, the same, well, what looks to be the same oak beams.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these probably would have been taken from other buildings that might have been being knocked down at the time, because they've got lots of different slots in and things that show that they weren't originally for this space. So in a way, they were reusing and recycling other materials. So the beams are probably as old as the rest of the house, but being used in a new space here.
Right, fantastic. And Tudor bed?
Not quite Tudor, about 1700.
Okay.
Came with the house.
What?
So that's a lovely
that
thing
was a
to get with the
bonus.
house.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
And
bonus.
so yeah, we do. It is quite amazing to wake up in it every morning and think, gosh, think of all the people who've woken up here in this room and to have lived in this house as we do for the last 600 years. It is a very special feeling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I was admiring your overmantel here.
So this-
Again, medieval Tudor? Or...
This again is sort of 17th century.
Okay.
So about sort of 1650 to 80. And this actually didn't come with the house. This is something that we added in.
Really?
Just because I think, well, I'm
Fantastic.
always searching on eBay for treasure.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to find.
That's right.
And even before we'd bought the house, we were chatting about what we will do with the house. And I saw this online. I thought, oh, this will fit perfectly in the bedroom. And
You found this on eBay?
yeah.
And we hadn't measured, Julie. We hadn't been in.
No. We hadn't even been in the house to measure it. And so I thought, I know it's going to fit. And the first thing we did as we came, we measured up for the dining table, and then we brought this in and we sat it on the mantelpiece.
Were you
and
like,
it
yes?
fits, it fits, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it fits like
It's
a
as if
glove.
it was made for this space.
It's unbelievable.
So it is quite something. And yes, this is all old carving. And then these are actually other bits of 17th century carving, which I've sort of collected, and we've
Acquired
added
over
it
time.
together to make this hopefully quite convincing.
extraordinary.
over mantel.
It really is. I mean, we know when I walked in, I thought it had been here, part of the fabric of the building.
Yeah.
And you've done, I cannot believe you found this on eBay.
I was
mean,
such a find. We feel so lucky.
Were you searching for it though? Or-
Yes, I mean, eBay's one of those things that you never quite know what you're searching for, but you're just sort of looking around and suddenly you're
Browsing.
like, well, I need that,
Yeah.
obviously.
It's perfect and obviously goes so well.
Yes, the same
with
kind
the
of old
bed.
oak as
Yeah.
well. So no, it feels right in the space. And
Yeah.
for us, this isn't, as I said earlier, it's not about sort of recreating and making it sort of 100% historically accurate. It's about creating a feeling and an atmosphere.
Yes.
And so again, this kind of suited the atmosphere of this room, which feels a bit more 17th century and has got a different feel to
Right.
it to the rest of the house.
But yeah, but lovely just with your modern touches here as well. Because obviously this is your bedroom. You need to make it so that
comfortable
it's
as well.
comfortable.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
took a while for the rugs to arrive, so
Oh,
we were
gosh.
tiptoeing around for weeks, trying not to get splinters in our feet.
Yes. These
Until
floorboards are
finally the
500
rugs
years
arrived.
old
Yeah.
and they were very
This is all
splintery.
original flooring.
So this is original
yeah,
flooring
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
well?
Yeah.
So yeah, we needed the rug to be comfortable, and of course we brought Freddie, our Tudor teddy, with
Yeah.
us.
Yes,
Part of the
absolutely.
family here.
He looks
Part of
very
the
happy
family,
there.
yeah. Yeah.
Really, really happy. Okay, so we've done 3 rooms.
Yep.
And where are we off
2
to
more
next?
to go.
Two
We're
to
down
go.
to the kitchen.
Okay, fantastic.
Excellent. After you.
Mind your head. Now, I just wanted to stop you here, Julie, on the way down, because you probably can see these
Yes.
2 V's scratched into the beam here. This is a witch mark. So these were made by people trying to protect the house again from what they believed to be witches. Of course, we know they weren't. They were innocent women in the 17th century who were accused of witchcraft. But the 2 V's is for the Virgin of Virgins. So it's calling out to Virgin Mary to try and protect the house from these evil spirits.
So this is 17th century.
Yes, if not slightly earlier.
not slightly earlier.
Yeah, we've got 3 of them
Incredible.
around the house, but this one's probably the easiest to see. This was originally the sort of back of the house.
Okay.
And so again, it's trying to stop anything coming into the house.
Yeah. Right.
All right, down we go.
And before we go into the kitchen, we want to show you our
this is
bookcase
lovely.
here. Of course, every historic house needs a secret door.
Yes.
This is
this is
ours.
it.
So we created this. It's got all our favourite books on, the history of Lavenham by our friend Jill in the village, who's in her 90s and has told us all about the history. There was a Crooked Man and the nursery rhymes. Crooked Life
by Mother
by
Goose.
Mother Goose, naturally. We've got our parents on here. We've got Keeping the What by Cardi B.
No
We're
way.
all on here.
Oh my gosh. 2020, the year of change.
Yes, and that's by New Bigging, who is our estate agent. So we're all on here.
This is really clever.
Thank you.
Really clever. Were you just sort of having drinks
love-
one night and you thought,
It's a bit of
It's a
magic
bit of
for a
magic.
magical house, really.
We don't have space for a library, but I'd love a library, so why not create one on a door? And also there was a sort of quite modern pine sort of box here
Right.
with a very modern door, and so we just thought, how do we make it a bit more of a
more
beautiful
beautiful.
space?
right, but also you had
Yeah.
fun with it.
Oh,
Absolutely,
You know, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Cardi B.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, just you had such
Yeah,
fun
it was a wedding
with it.
present from my parents, actually, all these books.
It's just
so it's
brilliant.
nice to have
Okay,
that
so I
here.
did
But-
cushion or
How
No,
does
push
it
up?
open?
Look for the bookmark,
Okay.
pull gently towards you.
Oh my
Pull
god.
towards you.
In we
Everything
go.
here is clever.
That's
Oh,
our bathroom.
wow. I love it and it smells amazing.
It's also a Hall of Fame.
It is your Hall of Fame.
Bit of media coverage on the wall. So
Wow. You're going to run out of space soon.
we love the fact that people want to celebrate the Crooked House. And they're very happy.
absolutely.
Anyway, we're coming through into the
Okay,
kitchen now.
fantastic. Ah, the kitchen. The kitchen. The kitchen and the wonkiness there right away.
Everywhere you look.
I mean, that's extraordinary. That
It
does
is amazing
that.
how it happens, yes.
Yep.
Wow. This is a good sized kitchen though.
It is, it's
sit here,
very
you can
spacious,
eat.
exactly. We can have breakfast here. Of course, we have dinner upstairs
Yes.
in our dining room every
Very
night,
enjoy
but
the
maybe this is a bit more
Absolutely.
casual for breakfast. But no, it's a great space. It's where I do all the cooking for our black tie dinners. So yeah, I'm whipping up meals for 20 in here.
Okay, so for that, it's not that big of a
That is
space.
true.
You could
Right,
argue,
but-
yes.
But well done.
Yeah, no, I think you just have to learn how to do it as well.
Right.
I'm not a trained chef. I'm a very enthusiastic home cook. And that's what we're serving. It's
Yeah.
dinner party food. It's home cooking. Lots of the stuff in the kitchen, all these pots, the bread basket, all of this is from my grandmother. And she was a big inspiration for me in cooking. She taught me a lot. She taught my parents. And
Wow.
so I feel her a lot in here when I'm
Right.
cooking. But it's a lovely space.
But that's lovely, and that's lovely to tell,
Sense
the
of
guests.
family history there,
Right.
yes, definitely.
absolutely, yeah.
Because like I was wondering if you were a trained chef, but I think it's even better that you're not, and then it's just sort of been a hand-me-down.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, family
Generations.
recipes. And
Yeah.
yeah, we use a lot of local ingredients. We've got some amazing local suppliers and producers all around, and
Right.
local wines and things. So we're very lucky in this part of the world to have a lot of great food that we can then serve to our guests.
Remind me, how long ago did you start these dinner parties?
About
3
3
years
years
ago?
ago, yeah.
Right.
So the first one we ever did was in March 2022. And that one we were doing at the time of Tudor New Year. So the Tudors celebrated New Year at the end of March because it feels like the New
When it
Year.
actually
Everything's
feels
coming
like
out
it.
of the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
It's sort of springtime.
Makes
So
I
more
agree.
sense.
makes more sense in a way. And so I was, as always, taking inspiration from the past with some of the food. It's not accurate recreation. I don't think anyone really wants to eat Tudor food. But we did actually have the World Authority on Tudor food book into the dinner.
It's a nervous moment.
For your first one?
Yes, for our first one, I had a food hygiene inspection that morning.
It was quite an intense
first time
day.
cooking for 18 paying guests, food hygiene inspection, World Authority. I mean, I was beside myself, but it all went very well. Everyone loved it. It was a really good party, but yeah, it was extremely stressful.
Wow,
day.
that would be especially for your first one. It's obviously gone from strength to strength.
It's grown and changed, and we've made the dinners more theatrical. We have more sort of live music as well. So there's a lot that goes on now, but the food is a key part of it, and
Yeah,
Ollie
of
is amazing
course.
at that. And then we've added in lots of different layers as well to tell the story of the
Yeah.
house. So it's great fun. We really enjoy
Well
doing them.
done. I mean, so fun. I'd love to just see all the preparation
See
that
all the
goes into it.
Well, the house looks slightly different when we do. Our bedroom becomes full of trestle tables and becomes
Right.
a service
Yeah,
kitchen.
yeah.
Because the
Sure,
kitchen
sure,
is
yeah.
downstairs and the dining room's upstairs. So it's not practical, but it is beautiful, and that's
Yes,
the important
that
thing.
is
Work,
important.
we make it work, Julie. We make it work.
That is so important.
Now, speaking of
Thinking-
making it work,
Yes.
we don't actually have anywhere for this yet.
Right.
Because we've run out of all space. But this was something that arrived at the weekend. This is one of those like gasp moments that you never really expect, which also is Alex's eBay treasure hunting, which you've heard about
Yes.
already.
Can't
Yep.
stop me.
But very much along the same.
So this was the latest
path.
thing, and I saw it listed on eBay as a Victorian mirror. It had a mirror plate in, which is currently just on the floor next door.
Right.
And I thought, that's not a Victorian frame, that's a 17th century frame. And so I thought, well, we could do something with that. It's been painted a bright gold. It needs to be a darker gold, but it's definitely an old frame. And so the moment it arrived on Saturday morning, took out the mirror plate straight away, pulled out all the nails, and took off the backboard. And
Right.
then, as we turned that round, there's the original painting. It's amazing.
What?
There she is.
And there she is. We don't know who
Got
she is.
We've got
to be
but that
kidding me.
came-
century portrait.
Yes, and it was just used as a backboard and a mirror in front of it.
You have got to be kidding
And
me.
there it is. She's an aristocratic lady from about
Did you
1680.
scream? I would
I
have
literally
screamed.
yelped. Yes, it was such a
I knew
moment.
Alex was
of-
playing with it, so I was just having my breakfast. I was in my dressing gown, and I heard a sort of shriek from the sitting room. And I run through, and you're on all fours, opening it all up. And then you just sort of presented her to. I could not believe it because you were so
gosh.
convinced that this was 17th century.
Yes, and
Right.
there was the
And
proof.
this was
There's
like,
the picture.
here she is to prove it.
And had you not had you sort of bought it as just, for the purposes of hanging it as a mirror, you would have never discovered this because you would have
exactly.
taken it
True.
apart.
And even at the time, I was thinking, well, we don't really have space for it, so I probably shouldn't buy it. But I can't stop myself on eBay. And
it
I thought,
looks
no, I
like
know it's a
treasure.
good old frame, and even better, it's a good old portrait as well.
Wow.
So we're going to do some digging into find out who she is, where it came from.
Yeah.
And see
And
where
maybe
we
you
take it.
might be able to. I mean, you probably already looked for some type of signature,
Signature,
which will be
yeah.
hard.
I haven't
mean,
seen yet, yeah.
But you could give her a good, careful.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
clean, yeah.
Though I quite like the kind of mystery of the
Yeah,
sort of
no.
slightly more aged look.
No, I
But
do
yeah, no, I
definitely.
think definitely to look into.
Look at
And
that.
So it is quite an amazing find. So we were delighted with that. So she's going to go back into her frame and on the wall somewhere in the house. So yes.
Somewhere, exactly.
Somewhere.
We just need
That
somewhere for her now.
So you never know what you'll find. But
Have you put that on Instagram yet?
Not yet.
Not
No,
yet.
no.
People are going to be really intrigued.
We'll do a reveal
by that.
moment.
Yeah.
You've got to do a reveal. That is going to go viral, I can already tell.
So a great find. But let us show you maybe something that isn't quite so beautiful about this house.
I don't believe you.
So we're going Trust me, you'll believe me when you see it. But let's have a little sip of...
Yes, this is Heritage Mead. On our way out, take a little glass of this with you. So this is spiced wine made of honey. Very popular in the medieval and Tudor period. So we serve this at some of our dinners to give guests a taste of the past. We'll have a little sip outside.
Well, it smells
Come this
lovely
way.
with the weather today.
Yes,
Why
yeah,
not?
perfect day for it. Come on this way.
Right, so welcome to the little crooked garden.
The little crooked garden on a perfect
sunshine is
day.
here.
It's fantastic. Oh, this is so lovely.
Glorious day. We've timed this well, haven't we?
It is absolutely glorious, and what a fantastic space. Are you out here quite a bit?
We are, yes, we have our dinner here in the evenings in the summer, it's lovely. But what isn't so lovely is the concrete render on the back of the house, as you can see. We're not quite sure when it was put on, probably in the early 20th century, but the damage it's doing is it's trapping in moisture and rotting the oak frame of the house.
Of course.
So our next big sort of challenge and job is to take that all off and plaster it with lime plaster,
Right.
like our neighbours next door, and that will be then breathable and will preserve the house for the next X many hundred years.
Okay.
So everything we're doing here is raising the funds for that.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Because I was about to say, that's a big job.
Big job,
And
yes.
also, Julie, the problem is we can't see what it's like underneath.
Yeah.
And so you have to be prepared that when that concrete comes off, you don't know,
don't
are
have
all the
bandages,
beams
yeah.
completely rotted?
Right.
You might have to repair a lot, replace. So budgeting a project like that, which there are so many unknowns, is very challenging.
Of course it is.
And so, yeah, we need to make sure that once we start,
You can do
we
the
can
whole
just
thing.
carry on
Yeah.
and
Right.
get it all done.
Right,
And we're doing well. You know, we've spoken to architects and plasterers. The planning's all gone through.
Oh, right.
So we're
We're in a
really
good position
we're in a good
for it, then.
position.
So you had to get planning for this.
Yes.
To take it
It's
off.
a listed
Yeah.
building, and
Right.
so rightly,
Right.
there are
Okay.
protections in
Right.
place.
No, I knew it was a listed building, but I wasn't sure about if you want to take something that was done in the 20th century,
Yes.
to bring it back to what it was.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, I'm looking at your neighbors, do you think, and of course your house as well, on the other three sides, that there might be timber, or there are timber
I would
beams?
imagine so, yes. It was slightly worrying when the surveyor came when we moved in. He knocked on the wall because it's on our bedroom wall, and he said, "Oh, that sounds very hollow in there." So we're slightly worried that there might be some rot, but we'll know when we take it off.
Okay.
But as Ollie says, we need to be sort of fully prepared for any eventuality.
Right. So all of these dinner parties that you're doing and opening up your house to the public, the funds are going towards.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
it's-
big project.
Yeah.
As you know, it's never finished, right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
A historic house, there's always
It's a
ongoing
lifelong
maintenance,
project and
preservation.
beyond, you know.
But in terms of big sort of capital expenditure, yes, this is the big,
Yeah, that is the big one.
big project.
And when
yeah.
do you hope to start?
It will depend. I mean, I'd hope in the next 1 or 2 years.
Right, okay.
It has to be done because of the lime plaster. It has to be done at certain times of the year.
Okay.
So you can't do it in the peak summer because it's too hot for the lime to set.
Yep.
Can't do it in the winter. So it can be done at sort of Easter time or September time.
Okay.
And so depending on sort of when we get there in terms of funding, you've then got the sense of ready to go and everything else in place. And the lucky thing is living in Lavenham with so many historic buildings, there are lots of amazing craftspeople around here. And so there are traditional lime plasterers in the village. So we can work with lots of local talent and teams, and we're very lucky to have that all around us.
Yeah, that is incredible. And speaking of the village,
Shall we
gonna
go and have a
so
little
yeah.
explore?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
there are lots to
would
see.
love to go on a tour.
Excellent.
So-
But mead first.
Mead
Cheers
first.
to the Crooked
Cheers
House.
to the Crooked House.
Lovely to have you here.
Thanks for coming.
At every turn in Lavenham, beautifully preserved medieval buildings tell the story of when this Suffolk village was a thriving wool town. Its streets noisy with the business of merchants and craftsmen from across England and beyond.
So here we are at the Guildhall in Lavenham. And this building is amazing. It's really a real centerpiece to the village in the marketplace here. And it is over 500 years old, and it's seen as one of the best timber frame buildings in Britain.
Absolutely.
And
I agree. I mean, I'm
you
stunned
wouldn't deny
right
it.
now.
It is
I'm literally
amazing.
stunned.
It's just recently been lime washed, and it would have been where all the wool merchants would have met. There were 6 guild halls in Lavenham at the height of the wool trade, but this is the real main survivor
Right.
of it. And it's now run by the National Trust, but it's a really fantastic museum to the history of Lavenham, but also a key piece in Lavenham's history.
So the museum inside, does it tell the story about the wool trade here? And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the wool trade and also what the Guildhall was over time, because obviously the wool trade collapsed at a
Right.
certain point, but the building's still here. And so it has a very long history. Some bits a little darker. It was a workhouse at one point.
Okay.
But actually, yeah, it's got a fascinating history, and you can just see the kind of quality of the carving and even the beams themselves. I mean, it's practically 50-50 beam to plaster.
Right.
You know, you don't need half these beams and it would still stand. This is all just showing off. It's just about the money, the wealth. To have that much timber and oak on site was extraordinary, really. And so that's another clue, as well as the carving, to tell you how rich the people that built this kind of building were.
And the windows are
I know, it's
the diamond
exquisite.
panes
They are beautiful,
Yeah.
just like on the Crooked House.
Yeah.
They've got that lovely character to them.
Yes.
And like Ollie said, you know, this has had a varied history, and during World War II, Lavenham was an Air Force base for the American Air Force. And so this was the airman's bar as such, in terms of where they would come and drink, a lot of the servicemen. And there's a memorial just over here in the marketplace to all the Americans who served and who really helped protect Lavenham and wider Europe, obviously. So
That's incredible.
it's a nice connection.
So this was a place where they could kind of feel, I guess, a little bit jolly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Considering
Yes,
everything else that was
Home away
going on
from
at
home,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of people come to trace their ancestors who might have fought in the war, and here we get lots of visitors from America.
Yeah, you must.
Which is fantastic.
You must. I mean, this is absolutely breathtaking.
a
It
stunning
really
building,
is breathtaking.
But we're now going to take you to see what the Crooked House would have looked like when it was originally built, because there is still a great example of this down the road,
Okay.
where we can roll back time and see what it looked like when it was first built.
Okay, brilliant.
Should we head off?
Yeah,
Let's go.
absolutely.
Isn't it beautiful? And this is one of the houses that were taken in the Harry Potter film, and they sort of merged together various ones in Lavenham and created Godric's Hollow, which is where Harry Potter was born.
So
Another stunner.
exactly, and I promised you that we would see a bit what the original Crooked House would have looked like. So when it was built, imagine this is the Crooked House.
Right,
Our next door neighbour here had the Great Hall
right.
that was connected to the Crooked House, and then our neighbour to the right had the private lodging of the wool merchant who built it. And so this is now the wool hall, but this gives you the best sense of what the original structure
Right.
of the medieval merchant's house would have looked like.
Incredible. And that just, again, I know I keep saying it over and over again, it's just amazing that these have survived. And I feel like everywhere I
Yeah.
turn, there's another one.
There
There's
are
another
so
one.
many.
There's one right here.
There are over
Exactly.
350 listed medieval buildings in Lavenham. It is Britain's best
In a
preserved
village
medieval
of
village.
2,000 people, but the whole of the centre of the village is pretty much all medieval or Tudor buildings. It's extraordinary.
350.
And there's so much more to see. Let's go this way and you'll
Okay.
see even
Oh
more.
my goodness. I'm coming back, everybody. I'm
You
coming
must.
back.
And back at the Crooked House, over tea, I was able to talk to Alex and Ollie some more about how they came to find their dream home together.
What a splendid tour, both of you. I mean, that
you.
was
Glad you
just
enjoyed it.
sensational. And now I'm sat down and I've just noticed this.
One of our crookies,
Absolutely.
homemade by Ollie this morning.
Told you I was the cook and I wasn't lying,
You
Julie.
are clever. It's a
It's
crookie.
a crookie.
A crooked
I have a-
house biscuit.
Ab-
Yes, have
please
it.
tell
How
Okay,
do you
I'm
like
gonna
it?
buy the crookie. And does everybody who come here, do they get one of these?
Yes, all of
They
our
do.
house tour guests do. So
Yeah.
you're one of them today, so you're very welcome.
Excellent.
So we're not going to
Glad
watch
you
you
like
the whole
it.
Right.
No,
time.
exactly, yeah.
For you.
Really delicious.
I'm glad you like it.
And a lovely cup of tea.
Oh, yes.
I'm feeling right at home here, both of you. I mean, because you just make it so special.
Oh, thank you.
You know, just the little tour that we did. When I say little, I mean, you know, it's because it's a sweet, little, cute, crooked
25
house.
rooms.
Just only 5 rooms. But it's just amazing what the two of you have done. So let me just pull back a little bit and start at the beginning, kind of how you guys met, and then when you decided to take on this project, really.
Yep. So it started in December 2018, before I'd even met Ollie. And I was living and working in London, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have a nice weekend away. Where shall I go? And one of my colleagues recommended Lavenham, and they said, oh, you'll love it. It's Britain's best preserved medieval town, as you know. Come and have a look at it. And when you do, go to a lovely little tea room called the Crooked House. And it was a tea room at the time. And it was a really dark, wet December's day. I remember walking around Lavenham Marketplace and thinking, what a beautiful village. Even in this miserable weather, I love it. And then I saw the Crooked House, and it had the windows all glowing, and I stepped through the door over there, and I sat at a table just here. And there were so many tables in here, that there were probably 10 tea tables in here, clinking of glasses. It was a lovely atmosphere. And I thought, I want to live in this house. Really? And I remember calling my mum that evening and saying, I found my dream home. I'm going to live in the Crooked House in Lavenham.
And had you been, sorry to interrupt, had you been in the other rooms, or you just were in this one room?
I was mainly in this room. This was the tea room in this room. But as everyone does, I wanted to have a little look around, and I thought, well, I'll pretend. I knew the loo was downstairs, but I thought, I'll pretend I think it's upstairs. And so I wandered up the stairs, and I saw what's now our dining room. And back then I thought, this needs to be a dining room. It was just a kind of sitting room at the time. But I thought it needs a long table down the middle. This would be a great place to do dinner parties. And so that was always the kind of vision from the start, is to find ways of sharing this house.
Right.
And I remember calling my mum and saying, I want to move to the Crooked House. And she said, that's a lovely idea, darling. But, you know, you live and work in London. You've got to be practical about these things. Maybe you could retire there later in life. And so that was my kind of plan, to one day live here, but maybe in 30 years' time. And then a year later, in March 2020, we went into lockdown in the UK for COVID. And I thought, everything's changed now. I moved home to my parents for lockdown, and I thought, I'm not going to be dating anybody. And so I thought, I'll delete my dating apps. And as I did, there was Ollie.
Yeah, so he did delete it eventually. But I kept Alex on the dating apps a little bit longer because, we'd matched. By then it was May, still in lockdown. I was in London, lockdown in a flat in East London. And we matched, and we set up a little video date. So we had a great first video date, because that's obviously all we could do.
Yes.
I remember, it went so well. I ran through to the kitchen afterwards and said to my housemate, I've just met my husband.
No.
And she was like, are you sure? Like, I know it's lockdown, but, let's have a bit of... But I was really convinced. And so, we chatted every day, just online, because we couldn't meet.
Right.
And probably, 3 dates in...
Video
dates in.
Yeah,
Alex sends me.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Alex sends me a link on Rightmove to the Crooked House saying, Ollie, this house is for sale.
It had come up for sale.
I've been following it for 2 years now, and I think it's perfect for us. I think we should do it.
And at this point, you had
hadn't
not
met. No,
physically
not
We
at
haven't
all.
physically
Not at
met.
all.
We'd only known each other for about 2-3 weeks.
So
brilliant.
suddenly, I remember so clearly seeing the photos of it online, and it's so enchanting. It's so different. It's just it's a fairy tale house. And I fell in love with it immediately, but still, it felt a bit rash.
Yeah.
But we rolled forward. We eventually met up in the summer. Alex moved back to London, and we'd by then convinced ourselves that we were going to be together.
This was our only way
And
of
this
having our
was it,
life
yeah.
would be in the Crooked House.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've met up in London for the first time, like not through a screen, but had you then gone to see
We hadn't
this
physically
place
come yet. No,
So you hadn't physically come
because
yet.
we'd wanted to buy it, and then it went under offer. And so we'd planned all our hopes and dreams for the future was going to be around the Crooked House, and it was under offer. But then it fell through. And on the day it fell through, Ollie booked a surprise trip. He said, meet me in London, in Central. We're going to have a day off, book the day off work.
Right.
And I thought, maybe we're going for a nice breakfast somewhere. What are we doing? And I thought in my heart, I hope we're going to Lavenham, because that would be really what I want to do. And amazingly, Ollie had booked a hire car. We got in the car. I said, are we going to Lavenham? He said, yes. And I cried for the entire journey.
Oh my gosh.
And we parked up the road, and we came down. He booked a viewing. And so we stepped inside together for the first time. And we just thought, this is where we need to be.
I remember Alex asking me, are you serious, Ollie? I know we're in Lavenham. I know you've booked a viewing, but please, if you're just sort of teasing me, because this is what I really want, let me know. And I was like, I am deadly serious about this.
We had both convinced ourselves totally that this was the
So we'd known each other 3 months we put our offer in, it was
So
accepted.
you put it in, like you left,
Yes.
and you're
Yep.
like, we're putting it in
that
right
is
away.
done.
Yes,
Ready to go.
I remember Ollie called his mum, and he said, "Oh, hi, Mum. I've just I've met this guy, and we're buying a 600-year-old crooked house together." And her response was, "That sounds lovely,
nice.
darling."
Sounds nice.
So British.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our parents were so
Unfazed.
encouraging. I think because
Totally
it's such, they could see very quickly because we'd spent lockdown at each other's parents, so we got
Right.
to know each other's families really well. We'd
Yeah.
lived with each other for weeks, and we just all got on so well. And I think our parents could just see, you know, this is going to work.
Right,
and
right.
so even though it had only been a few months and we were buying a house together, and it was still in the middle of COVID, it seemed to make sense at the
Yes.
time, and we haven't looked back since, really.
And how quickly, because of course you're still in that pandemic period, you've put in the offer, but how quickly did things sort of happen in order for you to get the keys to the
Yeah,
Crooked
it
House?
took a while,
little
but
while.
eventually it all went through. So we moved in March 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
relatively swift.
actually
Yes, yeah.
reasonably quickly, we were still very much in lockdown then, so we
Yeah.
couldn't really meet any of our neighbours, we couldn't do anything. We
But
were
we could start
working from home, so we
decorating.
started painting immediately. Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And when you arrived in March 2021, or you got the keys, what, in your heads, what was the first thing that you needed to do in order to make it livable? Because it was a tea house.
You say that, but this wasn't about making it livable. This was making our dreams come true. So the first thing we did was to measure up for the dining table. How big a dining table? In COVID, when no one was meeting for dinner parties, we wanted to check we could fit 20 people around a dining table. So
Right.
that was our priority.
The
Then
second
it was,
priority was the pots outside.
Yes, yeah.
They are
Making that look
Lovely.
nice, make sure it looks pretty from the outside.
Right, so welcoming.
And just
Yeah.
exactly make it look like someone's living there. We're not in lockdown, well, we are, but
Right,
we're
right.
here and we're looking after it.
Yes.
So this room turned into a garden centre because we
Yes.
didn't have any furniture, and we have a brick floor in here, so
Very
it's perfect.
practical.
And
Yes,
we're potting
yes.
up, and we soil all over the floor. So that was another priority.
And then we started, yes, I suppose in terms of making it livable, at the time there was a big bath in our bedroom, which had been put in as a kind of, there isn't really the space for an ensuite, but someone had put a big sort of roll-top
Yes, 'cause
bath in.
It's a very English thing to do. I've
exactly,
seen it
put
before,
a giant
but
bath in a bedroom. And we thought, well, we need to take that out because we wanted to take the house back as much as possible to how it sort of originally was,
Yes.
or at least take out lots of the sort of more modern layers off it. And so we took this bath out. We got it down the stairs, then of course it got stuck and we couldn't get it around the corner. So we had
The two of you?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. It was,
Carrying the
it was
bath.
quite hard, but we had to saw it
Brilliant.
in half to get it out. Luckily, it was a plastic roll-top bath,
Okay,
but we managed to
okay,
get it out.
okay.
But then we realised that it hadn't really been plumbed in very well, and so behind the bath was then a giant hole in the wall out from our bedroom out to the
Right.
garden. And then it started to snow. And so we had snow blowing into the bedroom while we're camping on a sort of air bed until the new mattress arrived because we didn't want to be on that old mattress. So yes, it was, there were a few things
Oh,
that we
my
needed to do,
goodness.
but it was all, we were just so excited and we
Exactly.
loved
We were
every
so
moment
excited.
of it. And so we just sort of ran into it and did everything as much as we could, as quickly as we could.
And I guess lockdown gave you that ability and the time to then prepare for
Yes.
what you're offering, the experience that you're offering now to the public. And when did you start to come up with this idea of, I mean, obviously it sounds like right away because you measured for that table,
Oh, yes.
that you wanted to have these dinner parties here that were really exclusive
So in
and
our
inviting.
some of our first messages between the two of us, we were asking each other what we enjoy doing, and Alex says to me, "Oh, I love hosting dinner parties." And I said, "Oh, that's great. I love cooking. What do you cook?" And you said, "I don't cook, but I make it
set
look
the
really
table
beautiful."
beautifully.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's great. Well, I really enjoy cooking, so actually together we could probably put on a really fun party."
Yes.
And so because we had the space and the skills and interests, it made sense that the first thing we would get sort of up and running was our dinner parties. And so yeah, we spent the first 6 months here really decorating.
Right.
2 months after we moved in, Alex proposed to me upstairs in the dining room,
Oh my
saying,
gosh.
"This is where we'll have so many memories. This is going to be such a big part of our life.
Yes.
What better place to get engaged?" So we got engaged there, and then we set ourselves a pretty strict timeline
Right.
because we were going to get married in December before Christmas.
So we
Okay.
had 6
So
months to decorate.
We had
everything.
May to December to decorate because then obviously we had to get everyone into the house for
all
our
our
wedding.
friends and family for the wedding.
For-
which
oh, you
was-
got-
we got, yes, got married here, which
Yeah.
was wonderful.
That is wonderful. So it was a
And,
ceremony
Well, we actually did the ceremony across the road
fine.
at the hotel because that's registered for it.
Oh,
but
right.
then we did the reception here.
Yep.
And so everyone piled into the house.
It was a housewarming.
It was a housewarming. It was meeting our friends and family for the first time since lockdown, for meeting each other's friends for the
So
first
this is
time.
December 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We moved quickly.
Yeah.
18 months
When
later.
You know,
Yeah.
When you know,
Yeah, when you know, and you just
you
have to get on with it, really.
And so then we were really ready to go. And then it was
Yeah.
only March
That's when we did
2022 that we
our
did our
first
first
event,
dinner.
yeah.
I'd done food, health, safety. I've got a personal alcohol license. I've done loads of
There was
exams.
a lot of admin that came with
Yeah,
it.
I was
You
about to say.
had to do things
But-
properly.
Yeah, you have to.
We wanted to make sure it
Yeah.
was all done properly. And yeah, we welcomed our first guests through the door.
And how did you, just remind me again, when you're putting on these experiences, and really that is for you to be able to do some work here in the Crooked House, is that right? So in particular, raising funds for the
Yes,
cement
some of
rendering outside to remove
Exactly.
that.
So that's
Yeah.
our next big project. There's the sort of Instagram and reality side of the Crooked House. The
Yes.
Instagram side's the front, the reality side's the back. And that means it's covered in concrete, but it needs to all come off. And then we've got to lime plaster it all.
Yes.
We may have to repair some of the wood, some of the
course.
beams. We don't know what it'll be like.
Right.
And so that's really, at the moment, what we're raising funds
Mm.
for, as well as just the ongoing maintenance and protection of the house. There's always something that needs tinkering or looking after. We're always on the lookout for Death Watch beetle
Yes.
and all
Yes,
these other
yes.
things
Yeah.
that you've just got to keep an eye out. But yeah, that's definitely the big
Yeah,
project.
and we really view it as our purpose in life is to look after this ancient place. And so everything we do, whether that's our black tie dinners or our house tours or our online shop or our patron scheme, all of that goes back into protecting and preserving the house
Yes,
for the future. And that
absolutely.
is what we are just dedicated to doing. And I don't think we'll ever stop. We plan to be buried in a beautiful mausoleum in the garden. That's the plan. So
And then come and haunt it.
yes, we'll join the ghosts.
Absolutely, and you'll join the ghosts,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, well, I can't, spending the day with you today, I cannot think of two better suited and more passionate people like you who really are, your heart and soul is literally in here, in the Crooked
It's
House.
such a special place to us. The Crooked House, it's different. It's not like other houses. It's 600 years old. It's bright orange. It's really crooked.
Yeah.
But actually, you sit and you look at people walking past and they all stop and they all smile when they see it because it's different. And I think that's so inspiring and so heartwarming for us. We're not really like other people. We dress up in Tudor costumes and do strange parties. But actually, it's so nice that we can kind of celebrate the difference. And crooked, to us, is perfect. It's perfect because it's crooked.
Yes.
And I think that what really is what inspires us, is this idea that its imperfection is its perfection, and we just want to tell that story
And that's a wonderful
to as many
thing.
people as we
and
can.
to celebrate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Celebrate that.
Yeah.
So last question, looking to the future, where do you see the Crooked House and your journey with the Crooked House, because you are clearly part of the fabric of this building, in 10 to 20 years? Are you thinking that long term?
It's really difficult to know. Lots of people say that. They say, "Oh, what's your plan for the next
Yeah.
10 years?" And we say, "Well, we don't really have a plan. Our plan is to live here for the rest of our lives together happily and to share the story of this special place with as many people as possible and to do everything we can to protect and preserve it. That is our kind of role here and what we want to do with our lives."
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's genius, both of you. Absolutely genius what you have done here. And the story of the two of you meeting and this journey that you're on together is, really remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
We still pinch ourselves every
Absolutely,
morning. We
yeah.
wake up and like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, we actually live here. We love it."
It's a sort of
can't
fairy
quite
tale
believe
house,
it.
it's a fairy tale romance, but it's
Yeah,
actually
it
just
really
how it
is.
happened. That really is how it happened.
And then to round off a perfect day, we couldn't resist getting dressed up in the style of Alex and Ollie's dinner parties to toast the wonderful Crooked House.
Hello, Julie. Come on in. You look
Oh
wonderful.
my gosh, so do you. Black tie, love it.
Come on in. Come on in and grab yourself a glass of champagne.
Champagne
thank
for
you,
you.
Ollie. Thank you. Wonderful, both of you, just to be so kind and generous with your time. The tour was fantastic. And now I can see why so many people book in and come, because you make it so special and so personal. It's not just about telling stories of the past 600 years, but also your own story. And that's what I think makes it even more special, because people want that living history. They want it to feel like it's not just a museum, but you guys are
It's still,
living here.
Yeah, still a home, and has been for 600 years and continues to be.
Yeah.
It's a special feeling.
It's brilliant. But I have to say, I mean, there's a few highlights, but the scrolling.
Glad you enjoyed that. And you had to go yourself.
Exactly.
You
You're
did
pro
that very well.
scroller now.
Yes, a professional.
It was so much fun. I mean, that was so much fun. But also just seeing, again, what the two of you have created together. Just, you've got like the crookie was incredible. Like the attention to detail, those dinner parties, how they've really evolved, and making sure that they're different, every time, so somebody can return over and over again. I mean, are your heads just spinning all the time?
But we love it. That's the wonderful thing. It's such a magical house, and it fills us with so much sort of inspiration all the time. So it's just fun to play with, and who knows where it'll take us. But that's the fun thing. Hopefully we've got the rest of our lives to have fun with the Crooked House and share that with as many people as possible.
You do. And being in Lavenham in particular, I mean, walking around.
It's a spectacular place to live. It
special
really
place,
is. Just incredible.
It's incredible. It's weird because I feel like when I was in here, I was almost like on set. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt I had been transported back to Tudor medieval times. And then you walk out there and you're like, oh, I'm back in the real world. But yet there's 350 kind of medieval Tudor buildings all around.
It is a fairy tale village, yes.
So thank you, both of you,
we've
so
loved having you here.
much.
Yeah.
Cheers to you. And cheers. Oh, you don't have a drink.
I don't, Julie, because actually we have one last surprise for you. Should we have a little ride in Henry?
Oh my gosh. Yes, please.
All right, let's go.